meeting to order. I want to welcome everybody. We'll start with a prayer and then the pledge. Heavenly Father, we just pause just a moment just to thank you, the Creator, and we thank you for what you've done for us. And we've been talking here before the meeting, lots of things going on. It's really kind of scary, but we put it in your hands. We just pray for the decisions that have to be made. It'll be for the betterment of the community. We pray for the people that aren't feeling well and need help, but give them the hope that you can give. This I pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Barth.
Here.
Bassett.
Here.
Beverly.
Here.
Egley. Here. Martin. Klepper.
Here. I guess I need to amend the agenda. About that first, I'm sorry. Solicitor, you had a report that was added.
After the committee met to do with the park usage agreement that we've been talking about, and that was after Charlotte already when the information came, so it just adds the resolution regarding that
Okay,
agreement.
I'll entertain a motion to amend the agenda.
Make that motion.
Second. Roll call.
Beverly.
Yes.
Klepper.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Martin. Egley.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Okay, have before you the regular council meeting minutes. Any additions, corrections? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept them, approve them.
Make a motion.
Did you make a motion, Charlie? Okay, second.
Second.
Roll call.
Barth.
Yes.
Egley.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Klepper.
Yes.
You have before you the bills that needs approved. Any questions?
Snow blower, Maker Hardware. What do you get?
It's a Troy built, just a single stage. We had a big two-stage in it, big gearbox in it, blew up during that last snowstorm. And thing's like 22 years old. And took, 2 long ramps to get that thing in the truck. So this one here, I called around looking for one, and he was the only one available. So that's what we took.
Any other questions?
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Sure.
Roll call.
Beverly.
Yep.
Bassett.
Yep.
Barth.
Yes.
Egley.
Yes.
Martin. Klepper.
Yes.
Park Board, Boards and Commissions, Park Board met February the 23rd. Minutes are in the packet. I guess, Val, you were there, so any questions from that meeting?
They are looking for more lifeguards. I thought,
Right, I wonder.
yeah, if anyone's looking for a
Application went out
job.
today. An application went out today.
Are you?
I gave it out. She came looking for one, so I gave it to her. Yeah.
So any other questions
First,
on that?
first email there.
Okay. Council Committee Report, Street Light Property Committee met March the 4th.
Yes, we did. And we met to discuss the lease that solicitor is going to talk with you about. Gary and Val were with us. As far as committee, everybody that was present agreed to the policy as written by Mr. Essex. And I think we're going to try to pass that tonight. The second part of the meeting was to discuss the process of acquiring land and building a new municipal building. Eric suggested we post a formal RFP, which is a request for planning, to get started. Full committee is in agreement to pursue planning. We we hashed a lot of things over. It was 5:15 when we started, 7 o'clock when we left. I think we accomplished a lot. Eric, on his own time, sought additional information regarding this, a lot of really good information. So if you want to enlighten anybody or just leave it as it goes.
Yeah, without giving any names or anything, there's a company that I know of that has been around for a lot of years. They're a general contractor. They do as-builts, complete builds, everything, and I asked them, I texted them before the meeting, or actually during the meeting, to see if it's something that they would be interested in, and if not, who they would recommend for something like this. And they said that they do it all. They would be interested in sending somebody here from their company, walking all the buildings with their village administrator, talking with all departments and finding out exactly what all the needs are, how many offices we need, restrooms, storage space, conference rooms, parking for the police department, street crew and everything. And their price was a lot. Cheryl would love this. She would have you see Cheryl with a big smile on her face. But they were talking, I'm not holding them to this or anything, but they were thinking the cost to have somebody here and to do the complete walkthrough, not trying to gouge anyone, hoping to build a future, work with us down the road possibly, but their goal was to do a rough estimate, having somebody on site doing everything, and if they brought it to us and we needed to make a revision, and then they made more changes, we made more revisions, up to 3 revisions, they were looking at $2,500 or less to do the work. And I know we had like $25,000 that we had possibly available for it, and we were worried that we might not get it done less than that, so it's kind of good to hear from them.
Good job, Eric.
I like that you're getting with the department heads, what their needs are. They know more than some company coming in, so I like that part, so, good. Any questions for that committee? Okay, thanks. Any other committee reports? Okay, administrators report.
Met with DGL Engineering for the Safe Routes to School project. Ron Beverly is part of that committee as well. We've met a few different times, and we're planning on adding sidewalk on East High Street and be on the north side of it, out to Dairy Delight, and then having a crosswalk roughly at 915 East High Street. That crosswalk would have yellow flashing lights, be solar powered, push button activation. I do have the cost inside the packet there if you guys have any questions on that. The state has pushed back their paving to June 1st, which is kind of a good thing. Gives us a little more time to get a couple of valves put in at some intersections that are on state routes. We hopefully tackled a huge problem down at the wastewater treatment plant on the effluent sensor was recalibrated, and it was found to be off quite a bit. The Dave Cole property is scheduled to be demolished on March 17th from B&M Farms, and they are out of the Edgerton, Ohio area. I have signed an agreement with HyperReach, which is an alert system, kind of like the Nixle system. HyperReach is the same thing that the Sheriff's Department uses to notify citizens of emergency situations, just something that may be going on inside the community. That way we are kind of self-sufficient. We don't have to depend on the Sheriff's Department. So if we have a snow emergency or a house fire or something, to let people know to avoid certain areas. The fence was repaired between City Hall and Fire Department again. Hopefully it stays that way for a while. And I would like to recommend the hiring of Linda Elwood. She was our applicant for the part-time janitor's position. She'd work approximately 20 hours a week, and if council would like to move forward with her, she can start this Wednesday, which is a new pay period.
Do I need to recommend her? I'll recommend Linda Elwood for the part-time custodian job. I guess that's what it's called, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I would support the mayor's wishes.
I'll second that.
any other discussion before we vote? Okay, roll call?
Barth.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Egley.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Klepper.
Yes.
Is that it, Corey?
We did have the bid opening on the valve job today at the commissioner's office. And that did go to Dangler Excavating out of Paulding for $123,000.
How much?
$123,000.
What was the estimate?
The engineer's estimate was I got it somewhere. I'll get back to you on that. I got it here somewhere. It's like 146 maybe.
Okay, well, it's under the,
They were like, it was almost $20,000 cheaper than the other two estimates, so.
yeah, local company, you know, Paulding.
Yeah.
I've seen
Are
some
they
of
able
their
to get
work.
on, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
are they able to get on it right away, though? I mean, as soon as it's, ground's acceptable?
I believe so, yeah. That's the plan.
Hate to put in streets and start tearing them up.
Well, that's why the June 1st, when Eric Fenning said they pushed it back from May to June 1st, was kind of a nice thing. Gives us a little bit more breathing room on that.
Corey, on that sewer plant, did you talk to any of the other people here about that? Is anybody else interested in the savings that he may have ran across? I mean, if he tells you the story, it's phenomenal, and it's,
We talked about 5 minutes today over in Defiance.
Yeah, well, I had them scheduled to come in last Tuesday, and I wanted it when Ron Daniels was here, so he knows that plant well. And him and I were both in agreement that we believe there's been some internal issues with that. So there's a sensor at the effluent and at the influent, so at the head of the plant and at the rear of the plant there. So the effluent sensor, when he was there calibrating it, it was found at 1,272 gallons per minute. And once it was recalibrated, it was actually 935 gallons per minute. At the head of the plant, it was showing 1,270 gallons per minute. And after it was recalibrated, it was 935 as well. So it was 337 gallons per minute off that was showing the plant was actually producing that much more. So if you break it down, that's roughly 485,000 gallons per day that it was showing that was running through that plant that actually wasn't. And that's 14.7 million gallons per month, about 177 million gallons per year. And so far the numbers are staying true even after the rainstorm. We're under 4% from influent to effluent, and we were almost 30.
30%.
Wow.
and every time that we did another separation,
Nothing changed.
it got worse. So, big shout out to everybody that was involved in that find down there.
What is choice one saying? Like, do you think, I mean, how does that affect our long-term control plan?
Well, when I spoke to Ryan from Choice One, we're kind of keeping that one under wraps with the EPA for right now. The submission was going out today yet for the amendment. We are still wanting to get Maple Lane out there because there's roughly 60 acres of field drainage going into our sanitary. So the EPA has not been made aware of it yet. I still want some more time to do that plant. I want, a few more weeks of data collections to make sure that we don't spike back up to 30%. I want to make sure we get all of our bases covered. And then we'll make them aware of our discovery, and hopefully that will get us out of the woods a little bit with going to a Class 3 plant. I think it's just too early to really put that out there. This is what we found.
Okay, any other
That makes
questions?
sense.
I have one. Deadline for wastewater treatment plant superintendent.
Yep, I wanted to discuss that this evening as
March
well. So, yeah, that expired on Friday. So, I did reach out to the first gentleman that we did offer the position to. We had a lengthy discussion, and he had his demands, and I got some paperwork in here that we wanted to talk about it in open session, or we can talk about it in executive session, whatever you guys choose.
We are going to have an executive session if you would like to, and I'm gonna call it, so if you would like to discuss it there, I can list
Sure.
that as well.
Sure.
And that, Mayor, will be at your discretion whenever you wanna have it. I will
Right at the
call it.
end.
Sure, fine.
What's the cost of the Hyper Reach program?
It is,
I guess what's the cost, and then also like rollout time, and what's the enrollment process
first
look like?
of next month, we should go live with it, first of next month.
Will we put something in the like water bills or to as
We
far as
can't-
how to
There's multiple ways to sign up. There's like them, what they call it, a QR code.
Yep.
There's email address they can send, they can text a message. There's all kinds of ways that they can sign up for it. I was thinking that it was like 2,600 a year, because they matched what Nixon was gonna do, but with HyperReach, they just offer so much more than what the Nixon does. It seems to be a lot more user-friendly.
There's training involved for whoever's gonna be
Right.
in charge of putting the messages on and things like that.
So we have designated individuals within the administration, I guess. What is that?
That's what it should be.
Right. Mayor Jones, we had spoke about it. I don't know how keen he is with wanting to do it, but myself and like Chief Denning, Chief Kramer, if he'd want to be on there as well.
Mhm.
That's kind of the main people that would put the messages out. And it can be done, there'll be an app people can download as well, sign up for it that way. But it can be done on a cell phone, it can be done on a computer. We can send out messages whichever way we
Yeah.
do it.
Sounds good.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions for the administrator?
Been busy.
This is a question more on the Safe Routes to School. I've never been a part of that process. What of that project cost is our responsibility, or is that fully?
Who's on the back here?
Correct, but what is so our responsibility would be column one?
Yeah, we would definitely be column one. Unless we don't need the right-of-way acquisition, then we'd be on the hook for the 38,824. But we would still have to do the 397,066. We would have to basically front the money. It's a reimbursement.
So the village is fronting, assuming we have to go right away, the 455,890?
Yes, that's what we would do, and then we would be reimbursed the 397,66. But if we had to get the right-of-way acquisition, the 58,824 that's what we are gonna spend regardless. But if we don't need the right-of-way acquisition, it's just 38,824. But this is not for this year either. So it's something that we would budget.
Okay,
Next
that's,
year.
yeah, okay. As far as state budgeting and all of that stuff goes, they're a year behind. So that 397 is already budgeted for 2023 for the village to receive?
No, we haven't budgeted it yet.
No, but the state, I don't understand how that program works, I guess. So where does that 397 come from?
The ODOT will reimburse us the 397.66. This has on here for like right-of-way acquisitions 2023, so actually it'd be probably groundbreaking in 2024.
So when would we receive our reimbursement?
After the project's over.
So
It's the exact same thing that happened with the other side.
Yeah, that's what I say. But we're hoping that the state keeps those funds set aside for that? I'm just thinking of the other.
She was
the
quite
other-
confident that everything was gonna be good.
Yeah.
Just thinking about the other programs that got yanked as a result of, hopefully we don't go through another COVID or something, but if we're stuck on the hook for another $500,000,
Right.
it's a lot of money for
Sure.
sidewalk.
Good point. Well,
I mean, we'd know before we ever break ground on the sidewalks,
Yes.
it's gonna
Yeah.
be funded or not gonna be funded.
yeah,
I mean, because this is projected cost with all the cost increases in 2024. They're looking out.
Yeah.
We're not committing to anything that we're gonna be putting the sidewalks in and, oh man, we're not gonna get any of the money back. We'll know for sure beforehand that we're gonna
correct.
get our money back. I mean, we're gonna get 397 or that percentage of it back.
That's what I was
Yeah,
just
90%
curious kind of
of it,
what
I
the
mean.
what the scenario, what the program looks like.
It's just, I agree with that. How far does this sidewalk section run? Is it just where it stops, the end of Dairy Light? Or are they gonna redo the entire, the whole run?
Wherever that ends up here on East High, yeah. It'd go from there out to pretty much Rosebrook Garage is where it would go. But being on a state route, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ron, but it's gotta be now 5 feet instead of 4, now it's 5 foot. She was, this,
Number
It
6.
has to do with the handicap
yeah.
accessibility, you
And
gotta make it
passing.
wider, yeah, passing on it.
But this also would include an additional, I think she said 2,000 foot of additional sidewalk if needed. Me personally, I don't think we need to go on the other side of High Street and replace people's sidewalks with that money. And we have an ordinance for that. People should take care of themselves. But we've talked about other locations as well. Like down on East Cornelia, down by the hospital, there's no sidewalks on either side of the street. There's many locations we could probably add sidewalks
And
to.
that could be added.
Yes,
Could use the 2,000 feet there instead of there.
Yeah, okay.
Or not use the 2,000 feet at all.
correct.
See, the last time, was it the school that paid for it?
Yeah, we paid that, the village paid.
We
the
had to
engineer.
do the
Engineering.
Yeah, we had a total, I think, about 50,000 out of pocket, the
Yeah.
village did.
Gonna be about the same. Okay, good questions. Any other comments?
Question for administrator and possibly the mayor. Did either one of you guys get a hold of Warren Slaughter for saying we want to go with East Argonne? You
I-
were here at the last meeting.
I did speak to him though, and he talked about, still going through and widening it, even if it's not a total of 4 feet because of their funding and the scoring and everything. Troy Sargent and I walked out, we went out today, looked at it. That it'd be close. I know he's concerned with that water main. It would be close to it, but the big thing was the mailboxes. After getting with the postmaster, what we're told is whoever the contractor is, they're the ones that have to move the mailboxes. That we can't step in as the village and move the mailboxes.
Sounds good.
So I have no idea what the cost will be. I guess that added cost is the way.
I couldn't understand why Warren had put that off onto us anyhow. He knows that. I mean, any job that anybody's ever been on.
I don't know if the funding wasn't covering the moving of mailboxes, if that wasn't part of his funding.
I can't believe that would be much more than somebody's lunch money.
Yeah, and the big concern is gonna be the fire hydrant right across from Nemco. It's fairly close to the road now, so it'll be right at the edge of the street. Unless we put some type of horseshoe ballard or something around it to protect it. But I think I'll speak to Warren again tomorrow. I talked to him very, very briefly today after the bid opening, but yeah, we'll probably end up going through and going wider.
Corey, the bid opening, do we vote on that? Is that commissioners?
Commissioners.
We will have what,
Commissioners.
legislation on
Okay.
it, or,
We'll probably have some resolution that we have to
Resolution.
pass, but it's through the, yeah.
yeah,
It wouldn't be just voted, it'd be an action.
CDBG.
Okay. Okay, good discussion. Anything else anybody want to ask?
Recycle lots back open, correct?
Yep, sign-in sheets are back, so.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody got any comments?
I'm just looking at this map for the ODOT. Is a minor rehab, but their definition of a mill and resurface?
Yep, it's a mill and resurface.
Okay.
Could even include a dig out.
That's included in minor rehab?
I don't know what a major rehab would be.
Say, I gotta.
'Cause I had asked
We're not in
how
for a
far down they're gonna
chip seal
mill,
job.
how far they were gonna mill because of some of the valves that were in the road. Troy had questions on that, but they couldn't give me a depth. I mean, probably just depends how bad certain sections are. Some of them are bad.
Corey, that reminds me, that valve, if you're going out East Argonne, and you get to Elm, you're not quite to Elm, we got a meter, it's right there, a meter pit or a valve pit. And it's about that much too low, and we've got a perfectly smooth street, and somebody went in and just milled around that, just like that, so it's, and the trucks hit it so hard can't we go around that, raise it, and do like, put a cement collar on it like we do the manholes and everything else?
Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
I mean, it looks like a bunch of hillbillies did it. And the one uptown, in the center of town, about across from Red Angel Pizza, there's a manhole lid, but it's about that much too low, right where your passenger side tires hit it.
I've had a few of them, a few manholes quoted to do that Mr. Manhole, but it seems like the more that you have lined up for them, the cheaper it'll be. So I know Homebrink will be here
So I was just gonna ask.
in the spring to do the Chicago Avenue ones. They're gonna Mr. Manhole those. He keeps asking if we have some to add to it, maybe, make it a little bit cheaper, but
Oh,
it
yeah.
ultimately comes down to the final number.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, but those two are just a couple that I hit all the time.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for Corey? Okay. Solicitors report?
Piece of legislation that I have is Resolution 2022-03, first reading by caption only, a resolution adopting and approving a park usage agreement and declaring an emergency. The agreement is attached. This is what I put together based upon the information that we discussed at the last council meeting. It is meant to be general. You see on the first page, it has where you can specifically list the portions of the park that we're talking about. It has the insurance requirement that we discussed to cover our liability. It has some indemnification language. I also included language in there similar to what we previously had done with I believe it was the Baseball Association, where we put some general requirements that if there are fields involved in what's being covered under the agreement, that the park director's decisions regarding whether or not people can be on the fields and things like that, controls, and if it's not heated, would be a violation of the agreement and would terminate their right to use that property. The question came up the last time, and we specifically did it this way, one, so that we could get it done before the start of this upcoming seasons, which are getting ready to go, and two, the issue came up, what about people renting the pavilion for a graduation party or whatever, and I guess I would suggest one of two things we could do. One, there is already some agreement for the pavilion, correct? I think I prepared that at some time in the past. We could beef that up a little bit, but leave off the insurance requirement. I know that was a concern. The other thing, quite frankly, it's not as clean and not as professional, but I guess if you wanted to use the same agreement, you could strike the insurance paragraph when it came to somebody renting the pavilion for a day, which would beg the question, I know in the past, and Mike brought up to me, we had the, whatever it was called, the summer food program, where they had the kids, down at the park feeding them and doing activities or whatever, which would be a regularly occurring event, and probably would be the type of thing that somebody like me would normally say insurance was good for. But you'll get some unique situations in trying to decide who should be required to have insurance and who not. And obviously it should apply across the board as much as possible, knowing that exceptions always happen. But that's the way it was crafted, was with that in mind. Like I say, if somebody wants me to take a look at that pavilion agreement, and I can't recall, it's been a while or whatever, but for lack of a better term, beef it up a little bit, if necessary, without the insurance requirements, but just making sure the liability stuff is.
Do we have him sign a liability waiver
That-
as part of that agreement?
I think it's included in there. Like I said, I'll review it anyway just to see what it says, but that would be the only thing. And then that could separately cover that issue. And then we don't have to worry about this. And then this would be more for, I mean, it's designed more for the people that are, for lack of a better term, regularly using park facilities or village park facilities. I shouldn't say just park facilities, because the stuff that's not within our control, we don't have any control over.
This is just a question, I don't know. So in the verbiage that you've got here, the organization assumes all responsibility for cleaning and furnishing all of the supplies for the concession stand?
That came out of the old agreement, actually, is why that was in there.
Is that currently how it is?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I was just
I
curious.
took that directly out of the prior agreement we did with the association.
So we need to suspend the rules on this, and I would like to do that.
Val and Gary, are you okay with this? I mean, I will just get a little input if we need to, so, okay. A second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Well, we can do it when we do the final reading. Roll call.
Beverly,
Yes.
Klepper,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Egley,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
So second and third readings of Resolution 2022-03 by caption only, a resolution adopting and approving a park usage agreement and declaring an emergency.
So move.
Second.
I'll second.
Any last discussion before we do roll call?
Is this, now, when we're done, this is gonna, they still have to wait 30 days?
No,
No?
that's why you do it as an
Good.
emergency.
All right.
Roll call.
Barth,
Yes.
Egley,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yeah.
Klepper.
Yes.
And then at the next meeting, in conjunction with Corey's information, I'm gonna be bringing a resolution that DGL needs in order to submit to ODOT relative to the grant process or whatever. So he got me that information at the end of last week, and we talked about it again today. So I'll have that for the next meeting. And then likely, I gotta get the information, Corey.
Deadline?
No, they said we'd submit it to them as soon as possible. They've already submitted the application and
Okay,
everything,
okay.
they just need this to forward on. Forward that information on the bid opening or whatever. I mean, you might get it from Warren or whoever. I'm trying to recall in the past when we did that where it came from, but so that I can do whatever legislation we need for that for next time. Ron's already going to request an executive session, I think, to talk about one of the things I want to talk about. Trying to think what else. Yes. I think that's it.
Any questions for solicitor?
I think it's forgetting that paper.
Oh, yeah.
For last
No problem.
meeting.
Okay. Welcome, chief. You made it back. You have anything, we got, you want to report on the report then?
I don't really have anything. You should have gotten the stats for February, I guess it would be. So, I can't think of anything right offhand.
Any questions on his report?
I just have one question. I know at the meeting we had a couple weeks back, you had said something about shields, and you were gonna come up with prices. Is that still something you're interested in, and you were gonna present prices to us, or?
Yeah,
Not
I
necessarily.
haven't gotten to it, no.
Okay.
So, but,
But it is still something you're interested in?
oh yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
So, what kind of shields? I guess body shield. The big,
Like a body armor
Riot?
shield.
wow. Supposed to never have to use them.
Like a gladiator.
So,
You got all your staff healthy? Everybody's working right now? No injuries? Nobody's sick?
no?
Very good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I got a question for you, Mark. On the school zone here, for your descriptions of calls for service, it's got 11. Is that 11 days, or is it just 11 times for the month that they were out there?
11 times probably for the month.
Okay.
Any other questions for the chief?
Thanks for the report together.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Fire, Bruce? Any questions for Bruce? I talked to the chief today, and you got 4 new firemen and working out well.
Yeah, and they're young,
That's what you need.
that's how we have it built now.
Yeah. Okay, any questions for the fire department? Any? Okay. Val, you have anything to, you're getting ramped up, I know.
No, not really. We'll be starting within the next week or two down there,
Okay.
getting ready for baseball.
Any questions for Val?
If I remember right, in your report, you said something about changing your meetings to, instead of monthly to quarterly. Where you guys?
I never heard back how that went. Mike was supposed to find
Yeah.
out.
Oh.
Yeah, Mayor, I called Cheryl, and I think with the committee and everything, I hadn't talked to the mayor about it, but everything with the park board in itself and how we're kind of structuring, not following daily operations and stuff, but looking for improvements. There's some subcommittees now with like the sidewalk, if we had to meet every month. It's kind of hard to get everybody together on that board, and, you know, when you start getting a quorum and everything and getting people together, so you're thinking about dropping it back quarterly and talking about projects, goals, kind of getting an update of what's going on, anything that needs improvements, but, you know, we've been talking to the county board also, park board, their role within the park system and things like that, so from what I understand, Val, was something that we can't do, so.
You can't?
Can.
Oh, can? Okay.
Yeah. We should meet every week. No.
Yeah,
That meetings might go a little longer, but, you know, I mean, there's a lot going on and stuff, so. Or if we have special projects going on or special events, we might have to meet if you want, and help with some things, so.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for Val? Anybody else? Okay. Cheryl, your report?
You have your fund status and the American Rescue Plan Act Fund. I think I sent everybody, I hope I did, senior moment, that the money that was not in the first batch, that people did, different villages didn't put any requests for it, or they didn't have a project ready to go, put it all back in the pot, and everybody got another cut, which ours was $718, but hey. Covered a snow blower, that's what I told him. And then you also have your cash summary by fund for the year so far. You have Kim's report, and February is better than January, for sure. And Don's report on the utilities, and April's report on Mayor's Court.
Questions for Cheryl? Okay. I have nothing to report. Anybody got any questions for me? No questions?
Mayor, I'd like to request a executive session, possible land acquisition, possible litigation, and personnel.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Beverly?
Yes.
Klepper?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yep.
Barth?
Yes.
Egley?
Yes.